How can you create more attractive slides in PowerPoint? The answer is the PowerPoint Designer. Hi, I'm Dawn with K-Squared Technologies. In this tech tip, we'll focus on using design ideas in PowerPoint to quickly transform your text and graphic slides to create more appealing and effective presentations. The PowerPoint Designer is a feature that uses artificial intelligence to improve slides by automatically generating a variety of design ideas that you can choose from. And most important, you don't need to have any design or art skills yourself. And most of these design ideas are available with just a few clicks. With the PowerPoint design ideas, you can take a boring, basic title slide like this and easily make it more visually appealing. And with a few clicks, a basic bullet list can become more interesting and descriptive. And you can save hours of work trying to lay out images by using the suggested design ideas. There are 3 important tips to know about with the design ideas. First, designers only available with Microsoft Office 365, and design ideas will not be available with every template. They're only supported by presentations that are based either on the PowerPoint blank template and some of the standard PowerPoint templates. But you can even work around that. If design ideas isn't available for your current template, simply create the layouts in a blank presentation and then copy those slides into your presentations. It's also good to know that even with a basic template, not all slide layouts are supported. Design ideas work with blank slides and title slides, but still there's so much power that you can get from design ideas. Let's get started. Here I have a new blank presentation with a title slide layout. I don't even have any content. If you'd like to work with design ideas, you'll find this in a couple places: the Home tab and the Design tab. Design Ideas is found to the right-hand side of the ribbon. The first time you try out the PowerPoint Designer, it may ask your permission to get design ideas for you. And so this is something you may need to turn on to enable the connected experiences or artificial intelligence. But notice that once we have the design ideas, even for a blank slide with no content yet, PowerPoint is already showing us design ideas from this slide layout. And over time, PowerPoint will learn from your experience and your preferences and try to show you design ideas that are most appropriate or might be most interesting to you. These even include some video and other graphic options. I could pick this, and then just in a few minutes, I already have the start for a much more interesting or appealing presentation than what I had with just a standard blank template. And if you want something else, simply pick another idea. And at any time, you can press Ctrl-Z or choose Undo to return back to the previous layout or design. Here I have another blank presentation. The only difference is that there is some text added to the title slide. And so, as we saw before, I'll choose Home, and then on the far right, Design Ideas. This opens up the design pane for this text. And from here, we can see that we have some ideas where we could quickly create a design for our title slide without needing to have any design experience. You can see a variety of different options. But what happens if we add a graphic? Now for this, I'll simply Ctrl-Z or Undo. And we'll go to Insert, Pictures, and I'll look for an image here. Bring this in. Now we don't even have to lay it out, resize it, move around. Look what we get from design ideas. All sorts of possibilities. Preview these to see what works for you. Notice that even a gradient here is added, but that's not something we need to know how it was built, but just that now it gives us a much more attractive, more professional option. Explore how you can use design ideas even for presentations where it might feel like, well, I really don't have a lot of images or charts, it's just a lot of text. We can still make it much more attractive. Let's look at some other examples. Here's another slide, just a simple title slide on a topic that you might think doesn't really lend itself to a lot of imagery or lots of graphics, but even then, we can leverage the design ideas to make this more interesting. This is actually using one of the PowerPoint templates, in this case, Retrospect, that will support design ideas. So once again, either under the Home tab or the Design tab, choose Design Ideas. And look at the possibilities of simply making this perhaps more visually appealing. What about your basic bullet list? Well, bullets don't have to be boring, and they don't even have to be bullets. That's the key thing here with design ideas. Look at what's possible. Over on the right-hand side here, we see in the design ideas pane that we could make this more visual, even with icons. And notice how the artificial intelligence is looking at the terminology, the words here, and showing potential icons that would be related to that. Or we could even make it more interesting. So what a contrast to go from that basic bullet list now to something that could be much more interesting. Here are some of those options that fit that text. Now, although we didn't do it in this case, I like to make a copy of my starting slide first. Simply so, if I want to go back to that text, or if there's something that I need to change in terms of the content. Now, these are editable, but you may want to actually go back to that original slide. So this is still text that we could click into and make changes to. As PowerPoint creates these design ideas for you, you're not limited to what you see. One of the nice things about that is that, although I think it does a great job most of the time in matching those key terms and concepts, you can always change those illustrations. So these icons, these illustrations can be modified. Let's go ahead and see how that would be possible. First, I'll simply select that icon. Now notice here that by simply picking Change Icon, we could pick something else. So if I wanted to use this one instead, I could simply pick that. Or I could see all the icons that are possible and look at the possibility for how this could be searched. So you even have more variety, creativity for how you might work with these images. You can also find this feature under the Insert tab under Icons. So whether or not you're using design ideas, know that that's another resource for you to be able to access these images or these icons. What about images? You don't have to be an artist. You don't need to know about how to lay it out. How many times have you spent possibly hours trying to get images to look nice together in a layout? Well, with design ideas, you could do that in a couple clicks, in a few minutes. Look at this. Here we have so many different possibilities for how we could make that slide much more attractive. And there are many other ideas as well. Let's look at a couple other possibilities. I shared the tip that when you have text or a slide with images, it's a good idea to make a copy of that. And one quick way to do that is with Control-D. Think duplicate. That way we can always go back to that original slide. Ultimately, you might decide to delete it, or you could move it to the end of your presentation or even hide it. Once we have a copy now, this helps me to feel a little bit more comfortable being creative and exploring those possibilities. So from that copy, once again, I want to make sure that design ideas are enabled and look at these possibilities. It's not necessary to resize the images, try to get them to be the same dimensions. Design Ideas does that for you. Now, as we've seen, the PowerPoint Designer, it detects pictures, charts, tables, and it can give you several different suggestions for arranging them in an attractive, useful layout. One of the things we see too often in PowerPoint slides is too much text on one slide. So that may be a content issue where the text should be split to 2 or 3 more slides, or that perhaps an image would be a better option for us. When we have a list or bullets, something that we want to convert, the design ideas once again will give us some great suggestions. So notice there's something a little different here. These are dates. By simply moving into that slide and then choosing the design ideas, in this case I'll choose the design tab and design ideas, PowerPoint is smart enough to recognize the dates. It also is once again looking for those key words. So here's one possibility, being able to pull in that particular content. But what about those dates? Well, that's something that could be displayed in a timeline. Now, this isn't as accurate as a typical timeline we might see with a project management program. So if you want something that's more exact, this wouldn't be the right choice for you. But it is an interesting visual that shows those dates in a more linear way. And once again, another possibility for that. So for your next presentation, explore how you can leverage PowerPoint's design ideas to create much more interesting, effective communication. Now, if for some reason you don't want the PowerPoint designer, and I'm not sure why that would be, but you can turn it off. So if you don't want it offering you suggestions, then we would do this under File, Options, and under the General tab, here is PowerPoint Designer, and you can decide whether or not you want it to automatically show you the design ideas or it's something that you would enable as you wish. Decide what works best for you. If it's not intrusive, you can keep it checked, but know that you also have the option to turn that off. But at any time, you can still go back and find it under the Home tab or under the Design tab. In this K-Squared Tech Tip, you've seen how to save time and effort by working with the PowerPoint Designer to create attractive and more effective slides and graphics. How can we help you to be more productive? Please reach out to us for IT services and consulting to support you with Microsoft technologies. We look forward to working with you. Thanks for watching.